Hello friends. Um, I'm going to tell you a bit about the Baha'i faith and some of the teachings, and I'm going to show you some. And when I say show you, I'm going to do some magic to explain certain points and that. I first came across the Baha'i faith in 1971 when I went to a public meeting in the Victoria Open, and Charles MacDonald was giving a talk about a young man known as the Bab. And he explained that Bab meant gate. In English, meant the way. The way. But we would say hell. And he was to hell the one that God made manifest. And it was in May the 22nd. In 1844, he met a young man, Mullah Hussein. And the Bab, at the age of 25, he took Mullah Hussein home with him. And it was later, it was early the next day, that he declared his mission on the 23rd of May to Mullah Hussein. And Mullah Hussein immediately believed in him, and he went, and the Bab sent him out to tell people. Mullah Hussein went to these special people. It was it was about 9 months later that the Bab declared his mission publicly. He soon had many followers, and these followers were being persecuted and that killed. Well, let me show you what. It was in 1844 in Persia, in the city of Shiraz, that the young man appeared known as the Bab. He wore the green turban as a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad. He was to herald the one that God would make manifest. And soon he had many followers, and his followers were going far and wide, and they were being persecuted, many killed and tortured. The Bab was sold. The authorities didn't like what he was teaching, and he was in prison. And he was put into this deep, black dungeon. No light for a time. He had no light. He had no light. And it was so dark, not even a candle. And darkness was sweeping the land because his followers were all being killed and tortured. And soon they sent him further away from the city to a further mountain prison. And there he was. And then finally they brought him to the city of Tabriz. And there they put him on trial. Though there was no warrant out for his arrest, this young man at the age of 31, who had been in prison for 2 years and 9 months, was put on this trial by the authority. And the authorities were determined to find him guilty. And they took him and they said, "Who are you?" And he said, I am the promised one. With this they took him outside and hung him on the city wall, and 750 bullets did pierce his body. And then they took the body down from the city wall, and they slung it into the ditch outside the city wall. And it lay there for 3 days and 3 nights, and on the 3rd night it disappeared. It had been retrieved by the Bab followers, and it lay hidden for 60 years, and it finally was brought to the Holy Land and laid to rest on the centre of Mount Carmel. Now I would like to tell you a bit about Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah rich nobleman, and he was known for his kindness and that to all people, which was most unusual in Persia. The rich didn't care anything about others, but Bahara loved people and helped people. And when the Wahhabis would begin persecuting, Bahara helped the Wahhabis, the followers of the Bab. And he was put into prison. And his feet were he was bastonada, that beating your feet with rods or steel sticks and that. And then he was let down. What was happening to the Barbers? Tremendous things. They were newborn babes that even took over their feet and took over the head and pulled the heads off like that. Boiling water would pour down young children, babies and young children. The followers of the Bab were thrown to the mob, and the butchers came with their knives, and the carpenters with the saws and hammers, and the blacksmiths with their tools, and mallets and that. And all this was going on, and Bahara, for a second time, was arrested and thrown into prison. Again, he was bastardized. Again, they let him out. Because he had quite a lot of influence, because the people loved him so, and he was sort of kind. But on the third time, they took him again. And this time, they threw him into a deep, dark pit, known as the Sea of Char. It used to be a public bath, and they used to drain the water down an alley gully, and it was down this where they put them. There were 3 flights of steps down. It was black and dark, and Bahara was chained up with highwaymen and robbers, many in no clothes. And they put round Bahara a great big heavy chain, weighing about 100 weight, and this chain was so heavy that Bahara had to have a piece of wood to hold his chin to try to relieve the pain of the weight of this chain, because Bahara was a very small man. And he bore the mark of this chain round his neck until the day he died. And it was when he was in the Sea of Charles. Well, let me show you about it. Let's use this ball to represent Bahara, and this cup, the Sea of Charles, and other places at Bahara were exiled. Now Bahara was placed in this deep, dark pit. And he was there, his enemies gave him poison, and they said, aha, Bahara will die. And they said, aha, Bahara will die. But, you know, Bahara didn't die, because God revealed to Bahara that he was the one ordained by the Bab to bring a new age for mankind, the one that God had made manifest. And so his enemies think like this, and they said, right, we send him this time to Baghdad. In exile, they sent him to Baghdad, and they heard nothing of him. And it was quite some time, they heard nothing about Bahara, and they said, good, we hear no more. But then Bahara revealed to his followers that he was the one that God had made manifest, and his followers took his message far and wide. And of course the enemy said, no, we're not having this. We send Bahara to Constantinople. And they sent Bahara to Constantinople. They said, now we hear nothing of him in Constantinople. But you know, they were wrong, because it was in Constantinople Bahara revealed many teachings. And of course, they didn't like that, his enemies. They said, no, we can't have this. We must send him away. And this time they sent him across the water to Europe, to Adrianople, and they sent him to Adrianople. And while he was in Adrianople, they said, we can eat nothing of him. But perhaps so they thought that was safe. But you know, it was while they were in Adrianople that Baha'u'llah revealed more teaching, and his followers took the teachings. So they said, no, we're not having this. We're sending to the Turkey prison city in the Holy Land, Akka. And they sent him to the prison city of Akka in the Holy Land. And while Baha'u'llah was there, was taken there, he was marched through the city in chains. And the people jeered him and said, ha, 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 here come the king of the Persians. Look at the king of Persia, he in chains, ha, 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 ha. And Baha'u'llah were there for a short ride, and they moved him just out of the city in the mansion of Baji, outside the city, into the mansion of Baji. And it was while Baha'u'llah was in the mansion of Baji, Baha'u'llah died. And the enemy said, good, good. Baha'u'llah is dead now, we hear no more of him. We will hear no more of Baha'u'llah. But you know, they were wrong, because though Baha'u'llah's physical body was dead, his teachings live on, and his followers take his teaching all over the world. And that's the story of Baha'u'llah. You might say, well, what happened to his enemies? Well, what happened to him? No, yeah. Well, of course, you know, his enemies got this nasty taste in the mouth. They didn't like it at all. They didn't like it. Because everything they tried to do to Baha'u'llah turned sour on them. And that is it. And of course, even to this day, Baha'is are being persecuted, and you see the enemies on TV trying to justify it. They look so idiots, you know. They do. No matter what they do, they look so idiots. Because it don't matter how they try to justify it, they can't, because they've got egg on the face. I told you a bit about the history of the Baha'i faith. But they look at the world situation and what people are doing. You know, there's a lot we can do. We can help people and that. And Baha'u'llah tells us we should be kind and that to all people. You get some people that say, why don't the police do this? Why don't the police do that? I don't want no looking about politics. I don't want no looking about religion. I don't know what they do. The do-gooders. Let them do it. And these people are like the ostrich that buried their head in the sand. They try to escape into some realm of mystery. And we all do at times. But no matter where we go, reality is always there. But let me show you the mystery of the ring and take you into the world of fantasy just for a few moments. But beware, beware, for reality is always there. 1, 2, 3. 3 solid rings. Watch very carefully. Completely hot. What is it? Don't matter where you hit, anywhere that's quite solid. But watch, when solid dissolves. Watch very carefully. And then we take this ring and we go up there like that, It goes through there like that and through there like that. You take that ring like that and drop it there like that, goes like that. This ring goes down like that and down there like that, and there we've got the chain of three. 1, 2, 3 rings. Now go like that. And a little flip, and that one come off. A little flip round there like that, and they come off. Now we see the globe, the world. We're getting back to reality. For the world today is in a tangle just like these rings. There are wars, famine, racial and religious hatred, terrorist attacks. Where'er we turn, the world today is in sort of turmoil. Don't matter what country, where we see, the world is in this state. And politicians seem hopeless, seem to get it into more tangle. The old religions are fighting amongst themselves. And it only through the divine teachings of Baha'u'llah can this world become untangled. It's a black bag. No, I've not got babies in here, I'm not a doctor. I've got 1, 2, 3 pieces of rope, and of course, the empty bag. Now in the world today we got some people that's starving. Many people and thousands of millions are starving throughout the lands. And we got the other people that got a bit of money and that, and they're not too bad off. They're surviving. And you've got the food, and the very, very rich have got most of the money, you see. And if it goes like this, you see. And Baha'u'llah said one of the main causes of unrest is the unequal spreading of wealth because of the poor and the rich on the other hand. And this caused so much strife and so much trouble. And Baha'u'llah said they must be a more equal. Wealth must be spread more equally. And then it would do away with some of the major causes of war and unrest. Now I put it in my mind, and now we see the result. And oh dear, oh dear me, look at that. Oh dear, look at that. I suppose, mind you, this is how the world is today. You've got those who got a lot of money, and then the not so great countries like they seem to go, and then you've got the developing countries. And some call it the third world. Third world. This is the third world. These are the top dogs. They say, we're the top dogs. We don't want to know nothing about the third world. We're sending a bit of money. We got plenty. The middle lot there, well, the middle lot are not so well off now, and all of this lot doesn't seem to be. Things seem to get bad. But how dare say the 3 worlds? You know, when the astronaut went up in there, and they looked down, there was only 1 world. I didn't see 3 worlds, and they didn't, from the spaceship. No, these people are stupid. We'll see what we can do. And this is some Baha'u'llah unity too. And Baha'u'llah has come to unite all mankind and to unite the world. And now Baha'u'llah said the world is but one country and mankind its citizen. And that is how we must look at it. So we come into the end, and I would like to close. I'd like to close by painting you a picture. And here's my palette, but unfortunately, it's not very good at the moment. It's only got white paint. I could paint a snowman in a snowstorm, a polar bear in a snowstorm, and even a snowstorm on its own. But no, let's see what we can do by magic. With this little box, and we take one of these silk to represent the paint, and we push it through the bottom like that. And now we find it come out blue. Remind me of one of the harder teaching, blue, the independent investigation of the truth. You should see with your own eyes, and hear with your own ears, and not through the eyes and ears of other people. We take it all and we place it in the box. Again, push it in, a little magic pack in the tab, and there we find lilac. Lilac. Service for mankind. Another one of the teaching. And also that science and religion must go together. The harmony of science and religion. And of course we open the box again, and the box is completely empty. And you can see completely empty. And we take this and we push it in the box. Just like that. And now we find rain. The fire of the Baha'u'llah teachings, his most holy book, the Kitab-i-Allah, which is great. Has the blood, the life blood of Baha'u'llah and the new world order, the laws, and also the blood of the martyrs, which saved in the cause. And again, we open the box. We take it up. We put that in the box like that. And again, see. Number one Baha'u'llah teaching. Love and unity. Understanding, kindness, moderation. Baha'u'llah teaches moderation. He said, moderation in all things. And of course, we take the last one and place it in the box. Just like that. Like that. Aha. Purple. Spirituality. All the good things of mankind, all the noble things of mankind, justice, unity, love and harmony. And peace. And of course, the box is completely Another Baha'i will ask, that the son of Baha'i will ask, why are there different coloured people in the world? And another Baha'i said, well, just remember the artist's palette. If it were all one colour, I mean, you couldn't paint any pictures. And if you did, it would be monotonous. And then likewise, we've got all the different colours of people in the world. And this is why. Just like the flowers of the garden. If they were all one colour, how monotonous, but all the different harmony in colour. And Baha'u'llah says, plant naught in the garden of thy heart, but the roses of love. And wherever you go, take a rose of love with you, and bring unity and peace to all mankind. This video is dedicated to the late Mr. John Long, who has given me advice, encouragement and help in making it. Oh, hello, friends. I've just been reading a book called Baha'i Bible Proofs. Right, Bible Proofs. After I became a Baha'i, I've begun to read books and that, and I've begun to see that there was proofs in the Bible. Though I hadn't become a Baha'i for any proofs in the Bible, but I've begun to read about these proofs. I read that Jesus said the time of the end would come when the gospel would be talked all over the world. And I found it in 1844, the gospel had been taught all over the world, in all countries. Again, Christ said, the time of the end would come, when the Jews would turn back to Jerusalem. And I found in 1844, the British forced the Ottoman Empire without the some of the other European countries to allow the Jews back into the city of Jerusalem. So 1844 seemed to be the time. I then discovered that you could work the date out from Revelations. And then I found out it was also, the date was there in the book of Daniel. And the Christians had worked this out. And that the Christians that though I was brought up in the Church of England, I was never told these things. And it was in 1844 that a lot of Christians were waiting for the return, the day of the end, the coming of the Messiah, to bring this golden age. And they didn't, and then it was a great disappointment because they did not know what they were looking for. And I found other religions were talking about 1844 and would be the time of the end, the great age, a new age was started. The end of the Adamic age and the beginning of the new age. And in some other books it said the age of Baha'u'llah. Because Baha'u'llah is an Arabic word. And in the book of the Parsis, which or the Zoroastrian, these are the same, it said there is some prophecies. And one of the prophecies says, and I repeat it, in 1844, in the city of Shiraz, a young man will appear, and he will bring a new religion, and he will be known with the Bab, a herald. He will herald the Messiah. And the religion will start, and then the Messiah will come. And then the son of the Messiah will take over this religion. And they will interpret it and form it and build it. And then the house of the Messiah and the house of the Bab will be united into one more man. And this man will build a new administration after being laid down by Baha'u'llah and his son. And, well, this was amazing. All these, between the time of Christ, about 3,000 years or more ago, this was written. And then I looked, realised how the Baha'i faith started. Well, let me show you with some magic how the Baha'i faith did start. Well, the Baha'i faith, how did it start? I said I'd show you. Well, it was in 1844 in Persia, in the city of Shiraz, a young man appeared, known as the Bab. And he held the one to God would make manifest. He had the coming of the Messiah, but he also brought the religion himself. And then they shot him and murdered him and killed all his followers. And then the Messiah from the deep dark pit, from the deep dark dungeon, a rich nobleman with Baha'u'llah, and he was sacrificed all his wealth and that to teach love and unity to mankind. The Messiah had come, and then when the Messiah died, his son Al-Baha took over the Baha'i faith, and he looked after the Baha'is, and he gave them the covenant whereby the Baha'i faith could not be split into different groups. There would only be one Baha'i faith, there could not be two. And then, after him, the house of Baha'u'llah and the Bab were united into a fourth man, And this fourth man built the administration that Father set up and brought into being the administration. Why do we need a new administration, you say? Why? What's wrong with the old? Well, there's been feudalism, it's gone. There's been many different forms of government, gone. We see communists breaking up. We hear a lot about the democracy. Democracy, huh? Is that a great thing? Is that sort of great thing? I ask you. Well, let's have a look at it. Let's see if it is sort of great thing. Well, in a democracy, you've got a party in power and an opposition. And the opposition go against the party in power. Then you've got this unity. And what the world needs today is unity, not disunity. And you've got all this fiction and that and bickering. You see it on TV and on the air, it's on the wire, this bickering one another. Well, then another way to look at democracy is, in a democracy, a majority, the majority is always right, and they are right, and nobody else is. But we know this is not true. For many, some hundreds of years ago, a doctor, his patients were dying, and he shook hands one day with a friend, and he realised there was something on his hands. We know that this is germs, and he went about telling the other doctors they must wash their hands when they handle patients and when they did operations, and they laughed at him and said, ha 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 ha, you idiot, don't think we're going to take notice of you, you fool. Today we know that they are germs and we must wash our hands when we handle food, and especially when we handle cuts and anything like that. And then there's another way of looking at democracy. Another way. The party in power. And there is a minority, but the minority may be nearly as big as the party in power. And yet the party in power has got all the say in the minority. No, pooh-pooh, the so-called minority, which may not be half a minority in this country. But that's the type of democracy we've got there. And there's another way of looking at democracy. In a democracy, you always got to take sides. You've got to take sides. You can't say, I don't know about that subject, even if you don't know. And if you say, you don't know about it, the government will say, look, you're either for us or against us. And if you don't know, you must be against us. And the opposition the same. And you've got this. And it is unjust, because there are many things that I don't know that I couldn't make decisions on. And that is it. Well, let's look at democracy too. Look at Africa. It failed in Africa for the same reason. And other countries. But let me show you by magic how this new form of government works. Now, I said I'd go show you by some magic what this new form of government. But let me show you what I go do first. First I go take this empty hat, I place it on the table there. And I go take these balls one at a time and place them in the hat. But I don't think you're going to see me do it. But keep your eyes open as I use these balls to explain about this new administration. Well, this new administration, it starts with a 19-day feast. And it is in 3 parts. A devotional, a business part, and a social part. And that is what the bedrock of this is. This 19-day feast. And it was introduced it by the Bab, and Baha'u'llah said we keep it. And then we got the local spiritual assemblies. The local spiritual assemblies. And these local spiritual assemblies are elected by all the adult believers, 9 members to serve. If there is only 9, then there are no elections. But there is no canvassing in any of the Baha'i election. No canvassing whatsoever. And, of course, they run the local community. And then we elect delegates to elect the National Spirit Assembly, and then the delegates go and elect the National Spirit Assembly. You see. And the National Spirit Assembly goes and runs the fairs at all the national fairs of the community. And finally, well, I should explain that the local and national spirit assembly only hold office for 1 year. But every 5 years, all the national spirit assembly go to the Holy Land in Haifa, and they elect the universal House of Justice, which governs the fair of all the Baha'is in the world. You see. And that's how it works. But the Baha'i faith is unique. It's not run from the universal House of Justice down, it runs from the bottom upwards. And by the way, did you see me put these in the hat? There we find we had the 19-day feast, and that is the bedrock. We start, and it goes up to the national, local spiritual assembly, I should say, and then to the National Spirit Assembly, and finally to the Universal House of Justice. And you might say, well, how did all these things come about over the years? Well, let me show you. Let me show you. I said I'd tell you how it started. Well, it started with a man called Abraham. Abraham, he taught that there was only one God, though his father made many idols. And the people laughed and mocked Abraham, and Abraham was mocked and sent away in exile. He went here and there, but he taught the one God. And God said to Abraham, well, let me show you, let me use this tip. God said to Abraham, from thy seeds shall come great nations. From thy seeds shall come great things. And from the seed of Abraham came Krishna, the founder of the Hindu religion. And then again from the seed of Abraham came Buddha, the founder of the Buddhist faith. And again from the seed of Abraham came Moses, who led the people across the wilderness to the promised land, who brought Judaism. And then again from the seed of Abraham came Zoroaster, who brought a great empire and brought the Zoroastrian religion. And again from the seed of Abraham came Christ, who they crucified upon the cross. And then the seed of Abraham again came Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad that brought Islam. But all these religions, they all talk that there were one to come after them, and neither one of the founders condemned the one that came before. And and yet their followers have not been loyal to the teachings. Their followers have made war for thousands a year, terrorist attacks, murder, prejudice we see today amongst these religions, and they fight amongst us all. But the founders taught nothing but peace, love and forgiveness. And then, but because all these came from the seed of Abraham, but God said to Abraham, in the last day, from thy seed shall come the one that will unite all, and Baha'u'llah has come to unite all the religions into one. The Messiah for this day has brought unity and peace, will bring unity and peace. If I had any doubts, they were all shattered in 1992 when I saw all the Baha'is gather in New York City.
Nearly 30,000 people from around the world have gathered in New York City for the Second Baha'i World Congress.
Tolerance, the unity of mankind, the elimination of prejudice, equality of the sexes, and universal peace embody principles that all people of goodwill admire and support. As you salute the life and writings of Baha'u'llah,
Baha'i faith, an independent world religion with adherents in virtually every country. The Baha'i world is a cross-section of humanity. It comprises members living in more than 90,000 localities in 155 countries, men and women of various religious and ethnic origins. More than 2,100 ethnic groups and tribes are represented. Of these, 30,000 Baha'is have gathered in New York City to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the passing of Baha'u'llah, prophet founder of the Baha'i faith.
And it is recorded in the book of Isaiah, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of God of Jacob, and he will teach us all his ways, and we will walk in his paths. And he shall judge amongst the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshare, and their spears into pruning up. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. And finally have I turned toward the Holy Land, and see on Mount Carmel the universal house of justice, the house of Jacob that Isaiah spoke of, where the law will come forth. And already it is beginning to come forth. The last stronghold of mankind, the last refuge, as more and more people turn towards it, as they see the world crumbling around them. And as the law come forth, it will be exalted above the world. This video is dedicated to the late Mr. John Long, who has given me advice, encouragement and help in making it.